Graniola. This is the Graniola channel, and I'd like to tell you a folk tale. Human sacrifice has existed from Neolithic times until the present. What I found really interesting about the folk tale that follows is the lesson they try to teach when talking about it. The girl who brought the rain. Many, many years ago, it was common in a wide variety of places to kill living beings and to sacrificially offer them to the gods, either in thanks for abundance or as a sort of payment when asking for something society needed. In the place where this tale was told, people often made animal sacrifices, but they were not accustomed to offering up human beings. However, as periodically appears, there was once a situation so grave that people became desperate. This was in an extremely hot country where it had not rained even once in 3 years. The earth was cracked and dried. People and animals were dying. Finally, 3 young men went to a medicine man to ask for help. At first, the elder didn't want to talk to them, but he could see that they wouldn't leave until they had presented their problem. After hearing them out, saddened by their plight, he agreed to help them. He told the 3 of them that the village would have to sacrifice its most valuable young virgin. The young men were shocked. Not one of them had the slightest doubt who this would be. They knew of several pretty women, but only one who was perfect in both face and figure. And coincidentally, this girl was not only extremely clever, but she was also kind and generous. Even though it was unnecessary because her parents were well-to-do, she worked harder than anyone else in the village. The 3 were stunned and could not speak or look at each other or at the medicine man. Finally he said gruffly, "Do you know who I'm referring to?" The 3 nodded simultaneously without uttering a word. This may seem terrible to you, but you can see how grave the situation is now, and this is the only way out. As they remained dumbfounded, he continued, "We need the participation of the entire village. All family members, including the young and old. Each man must bring a goat as a bride gift. In 3 days' time, we will gather together around the magic sacrifice circle." And so it was that the girl was led by her unsuspecting parents to the magic circle. No one had told her the reason, but she was a clever girl and quickly guessed what was happening. Her parents didn't understand when the medicine man pushed her into the middle of the circle of townspeople. When her father grasped what was happening, he leapt out to pull her back, but was stopped when a man next to him thrust a goat toward his chest, muttering, "Bride's prize." As the girl began sinking into the earth and her parents tried to reach her, the members of the village came forward one after another, pushing the goats between them and their daughter. When she had almost disappeared into the earth, she shouted out in a frightened and angry tone, "I am lost, but you have nothing to fear. The rain will come." The others were shocked by her words. No one had ever before heard her raise her voice in anything other than a sweet and gentle way. The medicine man stepped forward and with his foot pushed the top of her head down under the ground, and as she was consumed by the earth, rain began falling. No one in the group could look into the face of his neighbor. they immediately began returning to their homes, each feeling a combination of shame and relief and guilt. Only one person remained in the field, staring down at the magic circle with tears flowing down his cheeks. He was not even aware of the rain. He had been very much in love with the girl, and he was not only overcome with a sickening sadness of loss, but his stomach twisted with the sour nausea of accompanying guilt. She was the best person among us, and yet we all, including myself, watched as she was sucked away. I'll find her. I'll bring her back. His pursuit was long and arduous. I can't tell details of it here because he moved alone with no witnesses to recount the journey, and he himself was unaware of anything at all other than the fact that he must keep searching for her. And find her he did, thin and pale and gaunt, roaming through the dark tunnels under the earth. They were both aware that there was no way that she could return to the earth alone. So there was no need for discussion when he lifted her up and began on the journey back to his home. Once there, he wrapped her in a goatskin and fed her goat milk, and under his care she slowly regained her health and became recognizable as the girl she had once been. Although he made every effort to keep her safe and away from the people who had been willing to sacrifice her, word somehow got out that he was caring for her. First her parents and then other neighbors timidly approached him, wanting to see her. He was successful for some time in keeping everyone at bay, but finally the girl herself realized the sad truth that while every one of them had been altered by a horrible burden of guilt, she was also changed because she was weighed down by resentment. When she understood this, she was able to recall how frightful their situation had been, and she began to forgive them. Forgiving them lifted away her resentment, and her sweet nature returned. During the years that followed, the rains came regularly, and the people were kinder to each other, because they had learned that even though it's often very difficult, it's equally worthwhile making an effort to rid oneself of guilt or to let go of resentment. This is not only a myth about how to make it rain, but also a guide to healthy emotional living, and it's told in Kenya.